So we are going to have a little break. These are like little yoga commercials, you know, and I hope you'll do a little bit of these practices together with me. You know her. Oh, I think we have a Detroiter in the room. So I put life in parentheses with MS because life is a balance act. And really, life is all about balance. And then, you know, I'm a little biased, but yoga is all about life. People don't realize that yoga is more than the movement. It's actually a lifestyle practice. And so this is one of my students balancing a block on her head. Does anybody want to try in person here? Because I've got 3 blocks. If you want to try, okay. All right, you go for it. Yay. Anybody else? I got 2 more blocks. So doesn't mean you have to stand on your head or anything, but you could put a block on your head. All right, you go for it. I don't know. That could be tough on a hat. I see you peeping over there. I'm looking at you. All right. So to re-emphasize that, or to make known that yoga, you see yoga in the magazines and you think, oh, I got to do all these crazy poses and they have to be done on a yoga mat, but they can be done in a chair. I call it balance. We're looking at balance today. This is our infomercial practice commercial for yoga in 3D, in 3 dimensions. So yoga can be done in a chair, it can be done on the mat, and it can be done standing with a block on your head. So these are all pictures of my students. Real people, right? Real people. Every single one of them in this has MS. So anybody can do this, right? All right, so balance involves 3 systems that we have. One of them is the visual system, and our balance is altered by our vision, our sight. So if you close, oh, look, she's balancing the block on the hat. There's all kinds of balance. And that's what's amazing, by the way, about adaptive yoga is the people in the room, the people in the space, you make it. Like, you come up with ideas. I've been doing this for over 2 decades, and still people come up with ideas I haven't seen before. So we also have the inner ear, or the vestibular system, that impacts our balance, and proprioception, which is a fancy word for our awareness of the space around us. And there's actually another fancy word called interoception, which is the space inside of us. So the ones that yoga can help out with is proprioception and interoception. That's the awareness inside you and around you. So when we practice yoga or some type of mindful movement, I love how the block is being passed around here. This is amazing. We can actually improve our balance, and we can play with sight, by the way. Like, we can play with, like, do I dare you to close your eyes with that block on your head? You know, oh, she took the dare. Oh my goodness, she took the dare. And how is that? It's different, isn't it? It's a lot harder when your eyes are closed. So someone who has impaired vision with a condition like NMOSD or MS or whatever it may be, their balance is going to be compromised, but that doesn't mean that we can't work on it. So the message that I want you to, if I had one message with this balance infomercial, there goes Dr. Miravelli. Oh, you passed it on. I saw that. I thought you were going to do it. Oh, come on. And we got the namaste going with it. So it is possible to improve your balance. And doing silly things like putting blocks on your head or standing on a block actually is providing you with practice so that your balance can improve. Like, no joke, you can improve your balance. So a few things we want to do when we practice balance is we want to breathe, right? We talked about that a little bit earlier, but we want to consciously, mindfully breathe, because once you stop that, the block's going to drop. We want to use props such as a chair when you're practicing balance. You can see in this picture, Terry's using a chair to practice her balance, right? And that's not a sign of weakness, by the way. That's a sign of strength and smarts, using the chair to help with her balance. So we want to vary it up. You want to play with different ways of standing or sitting or on the mat. We add gradual challenges in. So you start by balancing the block on your head, and then maybe you close your eyes, and maybe you pick up a toe or two. We have to let go of perfection, because the minute we think we're going to be perfect at this, like this is a practice, no matter what type of yoga it is, it's considered a practice. It's not black and white, and it's not success or failure. It's not yes or no. It is yin and yang. And you could practice something at 7 in the morning and at 7 at night, and it could be completely different. And it can be based on so many things. What happened before, what's on your mind, what's going on. So that goes along with, we want to practice non-judgment, which again is a practice, because the first thing we want to do is judge ourselves. So before we go on with our next presentation, let's just try, wherever you're at, to practice a little bit of balance and movement. Those of you who might be eating, maybe let that go for a minute. And if you're seated, go ahead and sit and find the center of your sitting bones. But if you'd like to stand, we'd love for you to stand. Go for it. Stand. So whatever is accessible for you. You can stand with a book or a block on your head, or you can sit. So no matter whether you're seated or you're standing, feel your roots. So your roots, when you're standing, are your feet. You're sensing your feet. And I know with MS, sometimes we don't feel our feet, right? But there's still a sensation that's there. So to be safe, you could use a wall near you, a table near you, a chair near you, but perhaps rock back and forth a little bit forward and back, and see how you feel your balance shift. Feel the weight in your feet. Now, if you're seated, you can rock your sitting bones forward and back. Those are these little bones right at the bottom. They're called I love saying this, ischial tuberosities, because, just to impress you. But you're sitting on your ischial tuberosities, and you can rock forward and back on them. What happens, whether you're rocking on your feet or on your sitting bones, is there's a midway point. If you take all the way forward in your ischial tuberosities, so your sitting bones, or in your feet, what happens to the rest of your body? Just notice it. What happens? And then go ahead and rock back. Rock back. What happens? For me, I notice my core shifts on, right? So your center starts to pull in, your body activates. When we go forward, the spine kind of goes forward, and then the shoulders go forward, and the head goes forward. And guess what? This head weighs a lot. I think the average is 10 to 12 pounds. That's a lot of weight for a head going forward. That will knock our balance off. So if we go back to our center, and just to play for a minute here, how about lift some toes or a foot up? So you can do this seated as well, lifting maybe your knee up towards you. It might not go super high, right? So you're holding onto a chair. Notice the weight in your feet. You're on one leg, or you're still on your sitting bones, right? But it shifts. Now, if you're seated, go ahead maybe and take one arm out to the side. The opposite arm is the leg. So if you're lifting your right knee, take your left arm out to the side while you're seated. that very often is testing your balance, right? Seated, I have students, sitting in a chair is a act of balance. So standing now, if you didn't take your foot down, go ahead and take it down and just let it go and maybe shake out and maybe sway side to side just to let any jitteries out. And we'll go to the other side. So balance is very different from one side to the other. And by the way, none of this good side, bad side, right? We're practicing balance. So now we're going to go to the other side. So now shift your weight to the other leg. And if you're seated, lift your opposite knee that you were lifting before. And then when you're ready, maybe take the opposite arm out to the side. So this might be left knee, right arm. If you're standing, you can do the same thing. Try lifting the opposite leg. Now, maybe both hands are on the chair or a table, or you're against a wall when you're practicing, right? Walls are yoga props. We'll use anything for a yoga prop. So, and then, if it feels safe to you, you might close your eyes. You might. And it might be a split second that you close your eyes, right? And then come on out of that. Yes. You guys are amazing. So I know this looks like namaste. It's a hand mudra, but it's also a balance mudra. You are literally, when you put your hands together like this, you are activating the right and left hemispheres of your brain. You know, sometimes you see people kind of do this, right? You're talking to them and they look at you and they've got their hands together, and it happens kind of naturally. And it's a way to come into your center. Another way to play with is to press your fingers into each other like this. This is also a hand mudra. So by the way, there's hand mudras, there's body mudras. Mudra just means a position. So when you're pushing your fingertips together like this, you are playing with your balance. It literally is a balance mudra. And the energy in your body is shifting by pushing your fingertips into each other. You could take a few breaths here, right here, seated or standing, and you are playing with your balance. And you are helping improve your balance. And if you ever feel like you're feeling a little bit rocky, you could do this with your hands. Press the fingers together, or even take fingertips together like this. It will shift your balance. Yes, this is also a yoga mudra. So thank you so much. This was your yoga infomercial in between our amazing speakers this evening.
While we're waiting for questions, I just want to bring up a good point. So, one of the fears as we get older, and for those of you my age and above, the thing we all worry about is falling and breaking a hip. Because as we get older, as Mindy said, our proprioceptive sensations tend to diminish. Vision starts to dim. We don't do as well in dark light. We fall, we break a hip, and we help the orthopedic surgeons. So your best guide, your best hope at avoiding that is working on your balance. Again, no matter how old you are, young or old, there's a lot you can do to improve your balance. So, this isn't just about exercise. It's helping you to manage and navigate as you get older. So keep that in mind. And one last thing before I introduce our next speaker, about the B12 question. Remember too how I said autoimmune diseases attack anything. You can get low B12 because of an autoimmune disorder that attacks the binding protein that binds up the B12 in your stomach, so you don't absorb it. You can eat all the B12 in the world you want. You won't get B12 into your system. So if you're struggling to get your B12 level up, ask your doctor about checking for that autoimmune syndrome. It's antibodies to a thing called intrinsic factor. All right. Any questions then yes, there's a question here.
Hi there. I have a question when you were presenting earlier. Is that okay?
Yes.
You said that the B cells were the most effective to date. I'm wondering why that is. And then my second question is, you mentioned functional electrical stimulation, and what is that?
Sure. So the B cell class of therapies right now is probably the most utilized therapy. They have very high potency, pretty good safety record. So yes, it's become probably it is the number one class of medication used out there. So just pure and simple, it's considered high potency therapy with a decent safety profile. Right. So the question is, if you don't do well in that B cell class therapy, well, again, good news is you got 20 some other medicines to pick from. So there are all the medicines, have different methods of altering and modifying your immune system. So that's why we have more to work with. We can tailor fit the therapy to the person based upon their preference, their response level. So yes, you've got options. When beta seron came out, now 30 years ago, take it or leave it, that was all we have. You now got close to 30 medications. So yes, if you don't do well with one, it's not the end of the world. We can shift things around. Functional electrical stimulation uses a system of implanted electrodes to help coordinate electrical stimulation of your muscles to help facilitate movement in a weak or paralyzed limb. So it's still it's a work in progress still, but it can be beneficial to some folks, and people are doing studies on that.